Welcome back to the Out of the Rough podcast. My name is Nate with Out of the Rough, and joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, I know the answer to this, but how are we doing today?
We're doing great, Nate. We finally did it. I think we absolutely hammered it last week. I think I can almost quote myself in saying that if there was one pick that I would suggest to everyone to take, it was Sammy Valimaki because the line just didn't make any sense. Uh, you know, I was preaching to the choir. You were on him as well. Um, a little scary down the end. He
Yes.
was up by a stroke pretty much the whole day. Wasn't really worried until we got to, I believe it was 16, when he missed the green, short-sighted himself, gave himself a 19-foot putt to save par. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Here's the bogey to be tied for the lead, and then we have to try to chase a birdie coming home. And the wind had just flipped at that point. It was getting dicey. I was very worried. He nailed the 19-foot putt, gave a huge fist pump, and I was like, all right, you've got pretty much two more shots that you need to hit. 18 is a breeze for everyone. You just have to hit the fairway and you're good. It's really just hit the green on 17, hit the fairway on 18, and you're home. And that's exactly what Sammy did. So, Nate, it's been a long time coming. A joint winner at 70 to 1 to cap off the season. We can't complain.
It was a fun event from start to finish. I think it was a good cap to the season end, right? And Sammy just played, I mean, excellently. Like that final round, you couldn't have asked for a better performance. I mean, he went what, five under a 66 on that round,
Yeah.
anyways. I mean, there were some people going nuclear like Max McGreevy who, got within one stroke with a few holes in front of Sammy and stuff. But even then, Sammy had a shorter putt on 17 for that birdie that he would have needed possibly, and just missed that one. And all day, like he could have shot easily an eight or nine under if he didn't short side putts like left and right, especially that back nine. He
Yep.
missed everything by like a half of an inch to the right, every single putt. He played so well, found every fairway, avoided all the trouble except when he short sided that approach shot on 16 it was right, and then yeah, just made up. Even then, like he had early in that round, it felt like it was his week because things started falling his way. He
Yeah.
had that birdie on two, I think it was, before a long putt, and then on the back or the front nine, to finish, I think to finish off the front nine, or it was 9 or 10, he was off the green and made that birdie putt on to he kind of stole two birdies there, and that's kind of what the difference was. And that's the difference between winning a PGA Tour event and not, or hitting shots like that, having some luck on your side, or making those long birdie putts when everyone else isn't making those. And that was the difference for Sammy Valimaki, because it very well could have come down to Master Greavy stealing that event right out of his grasp. But first person from Finland to ever win an event of the PGA Tour. That has to be a pretty awesome feeling to be the first person from your country to win a PGA Tour event. So kudos to him for that. I love stories like that. Me, especially when it comes to DP World Tour, I love betting those cards that has five, six different flags on there. So I love when these oddities like Simi Valmak from Finland gets it done. So now a two-time winner of the DP World Tour, a winner of the PGA Tour, and he's sailing into a signature event. He'll be at Pebble Beach and the Genesis to kick off the season next year. So a great finish, a great season all around. We'll have a recap podcast between Jake and I some point later in December towards the start of the PGA Tour season. But overall, was a great season, a great fall series for me, especially with Stephen Fisk 100 to 1 as well, with the 71 to Sammy Valimaki as well. So a great finish to the season. I couldn't ask for a more. It was fun. It was fun. There's no
Yeah.
way to beat around the bush there.
Yeah, just quickly, just two more things about the event. McGreevy drains an absolute nuclear putt on 18 to
Yes, yes.
give him that T1 spot really for a short period of time where I was like, those are the putts that you remember, and that's all the momentum he needed. So, and look, if he misses that putt with a two-stroke lead, I'm not worried about Sammy
No.
short-siding himself. I'm not worried about him coming home. He put the pressure on Sammy. That's about all you could ask. And also, just a tough finish for Lee Hodges there,
Oh my
finishing just
gosh.
outside of the
101.
Yep, 101. He missed a putt by about an inch on 17. Absolutely brutal for him, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. You still have, you're playing in some events as long as you're 150 or higher. You're just missing some of those signature events. And look, I think Hodges is a little bit of a bigger name than some of these guys outside of the top 100, 150. Of course, you have the Max Homas of the world who are outside of that number who are going to get all the sponsors exemptions, but I still think he'll be able to play himself in, and I think he's live in some tournaments coming up that we can talk about in a subsequent pod.
And you're still talking about a one those 100 to 150, especially the 100 to 125. You're getting plenty of starts. You're going to get 20 plus starts in the PGA Tour. Those off-field events, especially early in the season, you have a chance to play yourself, even in signature events with the Aon next swing there, because he's going to probably play every event on the West Coast. Starting with
Yeah.
Sony and all those West Coast events, he's going to get starts in. So there's no doubt about that. Going to have his chances there. But man, it was literally like one more revolution of the golf ball would have fallen on 18 and got himself a card. But either way, it was the added, say what you want about this fall series, it makes for good golf in the fall. Like it used to just be ho hum, who cares? It's just added golf, but there's an added incentive to all of this. And within, the tournament of Sami Valimaki going on for his first PGA Tour win, we had these other storylines we're following left and right. We have the top 100, we have the top 150. We had guys on the cups, outside the cups, moving in, moving out. It was fun. Just the last entire round, we're tracking Doug Ginn, we're tracking Lee Hodges, we're tracking all those guys who needed a fantastic event to go on to make or get a card. Then you had like Takumi Kanaya who missed the cut. All he
Yep.
needed to do was basically make the cut. He got a card, stuck in the 99th spot because of Lee Hodges and those type of guys. So it was a great finale to the PGA Tour season. I'm excited for the next season. We have the Hero and we have the Grant Thornton to kind of hold us over. I think there's like a Golf Channel games coming up Thanksgiving Day
Yeah.
ish somewhere around here. I think your skins are coming back. There's some added stuff to get us through the winter. TGL will be around the corner as well. I enjoy that just because it's added golf for Mondays and Tuesdays. But either way, yeah, in a good spot and had a lot of fun in this fall series.
Yeah, just to cap it off, the RSM, they do a really good job of playing up those storylines. I think they did a great job of it again this week of honing in on the players on the
Mm,
cusp and being in and out. And I really, I, it's annoying they don't have shot link on all, on both courses there, but I think they make up for it with the TV coverage in the sense that they do focus on those people, inside and outside of the cuts and really pushing those storylines is a lot of fun to track.
for sure, especially that final round on Sunday gave a great viewing pleasure all around.
Yep.
But this week, no PGA Tour this week, but we have, just as the DP World Tour season of 2025 finished 2 weeks ago, we're back already for the 2026 season. Kicking off here with this weird December opening swing. We have a few stops in Australia, a few stops in South Africa, then, go over to Mauritius. Then from there, we go back to South Africa. It's a whole thing. But we have 5 events here through December for the opening swing with this week's. All right, here we go. BMW Australian PGA Championship. Got it. That's what
Yep.
kicks things off here. Next week is the Australian Open. And then slash, you have the Nedbank Challenge as well in South Africa. We bounce to South Africa, then the Afro-Asian Mauritius Open, then we're into the new year at that point. So the next few podcasts, the next 4 or 5 weeks here will be DP World Tour, pretty much specific. I mean, with the Hero coming up, which is like a 30-man kind of all-star type of event type of thing. Scotty Scheffler's going to win it either way. But yeah, we have all that coming up, in the near future. So DP World Tour specific this week. So if you're a newcomer, if you're listening to this and have never heard of the DP World Tour or just get into the DP World Tour, this is a great event to kind of dabble your feet in because you're still going to have you're going to have a slew of live guys, you're going to have a slew of PGA Tour guys, and then you're going to be introduced to some of the DP World Tour and maybe a few of those guys who's going to be coming over stateside here for the turn of the season with their PGA Tour cards as well. But before we do hop into that stuff, Jake, where can people find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at the Jake Friedman on Twitter. That will hopefully be changing soon, but we'll announce that in a subsequent pod. It'll be closer to Nate's Twitter name. But anyway, you can find me there. My outright card for the BMW Australian PGA Championship is posted there already, so be sure to check that out. Also, reach out to Nate or myself on Twitter or any way you can reach out to us that you know of to join our Discord. Completely free to join, no hidden paywalls once you're in there. Once you're in, you have access to all the channels and communicating in each of those respective channels completely free. A great community of 275 to 300 plus people in there. It's not just Nate and myself preaching our content and the information that we have. There's a lot of really extremely knowledgeable people that do this from, just doing it for fun to professionally, who have a lot of great and valuable information. So, a great resource to have at your fingertips completely free. Be sure to join. Also, if you're interested, post your plays in there. Nate tracks them for everyone. He posts out, who's on what players before the tournament starts. And then, as the week goes on, we have a rooting list. And on Sunday, we get to congratulate everyone who has hit the winners. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great community in there, a lot of positive vibes. So be sure to join.
Yeah, there's no reason not to check it out. It's completely free, as Jake mentioned there. So hit us up for the link. Exclusive content as well between my first round leaders, Jake's matchup plays, and some smaller tour plays from us as well in there. So just check it out, see what it's all about, and stick along for a long time. It's fun in there, especially even during this fall swing when it's been very slow, across most golf aspects of things. We're still crushing it in there. So
Yeah,
check us out.
we got a lot of sickos in there who were tracking the fall swing very religiously, and it was a lot of fun because you don't find that everywhere. So
No, no,
yeah,
right there in the Out of the Rough Discord.
yeah.
All right, you can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. You can follow Out of the Rough on all forms of social media at various handles in relation to that, somewhere around there. I'll get a list at some point to let you guys know where it's at, but just search Out of the Rough. You'll find us on social medias all over the place. Visit our website, www.out or ootrough.com. On there, you can find my weekly PGA Tour, DP World Tour, Live, and LPGA golf betting article series, full previews of the field event and courses, as well as my full betting cards on those articles as well. Exclusive to the website, strokes gained putting per grass type for the PGA Tour. You can find the Out of the Rough one and done, and new to the season, we have a DP World Tour specific out of one and done as well, kicking off this week in Australia. So be sure to check that out. That is new to this season, so an added incentive to pay attention to this podcast. Maybe get a name or two if you're not too familiar, and get your love kicked off for this wacky DP World Tour that's so fun to track. Beyond that, you can uh, in later parts, since we're all done with the Corn Ferry Tour and the Hotel Planner Tour, with Andrew at All Tour Golf Bets does a great job of tracking all of that as well. And yeah, beyond that, be sure just to follow us on social media to stay up to date with everything, or join the Discord. It's all in there as well. All right, Jake, let's move into this week's content. We have the BMW Australian PGA Championship. This is the official kickoff of the 2026 season, as we mentioned, as well as the opening swing. And on the DP World Tour, their schedule is broken down into these quote unquote swings. And then through the swings, the person with the highest earnings or highest placement average gets an added monetary bonus, and I think an added point bonus to the races to buy as well. So there's a lot of incentives beyond just coming out to these early events and playing. It's a good kickstart for a lot of these guys in preparation for a top 10 and a PGA Tour card maybe down the road as well. So that's something to another like season within a season, I guess you could say, the DP World Tour. It's pretty fun. But again, the first of two stops in Australia. This is an event that joined the DP World Tour schedule in December of 2015, first held at the Royal Pines Golf Club on the Gold Coast. It was staged there until 2019, and then in 2022, when the event returned to the schedule, it was held at Royal Queensland, where it is returned, or where it is being held this year as well. And again, co-sanctioned between the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour of Australasia. I do not know how to say that. Might twist my tongue up every time. Either way, field this week, without no surprise, we have a very strong contingent of Australian golfers. Pretty much every elite Australian golfer in the world is here except one, Jason Day. Beyond that, Cameron Smith leads the way. He's won this event like three times. 2022 at this golf course, back in 2018 and 2017 at the previous golf course as well. You know, he's the biggest name here. Live Golf's Cameron Smith, the Open champion 2022. He's been there, he's done that. He's an elite talent, and he's from Australia, and he's leading the charge here. We also have Minwoo Lee, Adam Scott, Cam Davis of the PGA Tour representing Australia, then Mark Leishman of Live Golf, as well as Cam Smith there representing Australia as well. Australia's Elvis Smiley burst onto the DP World Tour scene a season ago, claiming his maiden DP World Tour title at this event, and he's back here to defend his title. Again, he's Australian. Also, the home favorites, a large Live Golf contingent, will look to upend Australia's stranglehold on this event. Of those on the Live Golf Tour playing this week of Abraham Answer, Jose Luis Ballester, Nicholas Colzarts, Sebastian Munoz, Joakim Niemann, David Puig, and Carlos Ortiz. Forgot to mention, guys, that an Australian has won this event in 7 of the 8 editions that this event has been co-sanctioned between the DP World Tour and the Australian Tour. Harold Varner III back in 2016 was the only non-Australian to do so. So this is a pretty Australian dominant event, so keep that in mind as well. Other notable golfers in this week's field, we have Marco Penge, Ryan Fox, Kazuma Kapori, Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, Daniel Hillier, and Yuto Katsuraga. Excuse me, I don't know why I struggled so much there. Other former winners of this event at Queensland, you have Minwoo Lee in 2023 and Jediah Morgan in 2022. Please note, 2022 was a return from COVID, so it was only a Australian event, not a DP World Tour event as well. So the course this week is the Royal Queensland Golf Club in Brisbane, Australia, par 71 at 7,134 yards, located in the north bank of the Brisbane River. So, although this course was opened in 1921, the course hosting this week's tournament is only about 17 years old and was designed by ex-tour pro Mike Clayton. This course is a modern parkland layout that was completed in December of 2007. Overall, it is a flat course with wide fairways and very little rough. Despite that, there is an abundance of strategically placed bunkers, which serve as the course's main line of defense. And there is also little to no water involved this week. It is a pretty straightforward Australian sand track. If you've ever seen or watched Australian golf, it's a very linksy feel in a sense, just because it's a lot of sand golf, and that's what we're going to see this week. Jake, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it all.
All right. With that being said, guys, this is going to be a shorter podcast if you haven't noticed already because DP World Tour, and this is kind of a one-off event here as well. But I have five guys on my card. I know Jake has fewer than that, maybe what, two or three. So uh, we'll run through them here right quick and get you guys out of here. First play for me though, Ryan Fox at 25 to 1. I know he's not Australian, close enough, New Zealand. All you gotta do is change the color on the flag, at least the stars on the flag from red to yellow, and you're right there. But Ryan Fox, there is a cream of the crop at this event with the top end of this Australian market and a few others like the Rasmus Niergaard Petersons and Marco Penge. And I think Ryan Fox falls into that category while having the best number at 25 to 1. And that's kind of where I gravitated towards him here. Last year on the DP World Tour, he was second in sand saves, 10th in scrambling, 11th in approach, 21st in driving distance, 44th off the tee. The only number that's concerned to me is 159th in strokes gained putting, but this is DP World Tour. This guy's a two-time winner of the PGA Tour this season alone, where he was 51st in strokes gained putting. So ignore that DP World Tour number. Last time we saw him, though, was back at the Open Day France, which was back in, wow, months ago at this point. Placed T14th
September.
there. Prior to that, T46 of the BMW PGA, and then 43rd of the BMW Championship of the DP World Tour. Again, the best number of the quote-unquote cream of the crop, in my opinion. And in terms of a home game, this is as close as it gets for someone like Ryan Fox, being in New Zealand. So maybe that's an incentive as well. But 25 to 1, Ryan Fox is my first play this week.
Yeah, this guy is a bona fide stud, right? When he is playing his best golf, he could win tournaments, and he's proven that on the PGA Tour. He won, two tournaments in the stretch of like 4 weeks, 5 weeks at the RBC Canadian Open, and then the Myrtle Beach Classic. That wasn't too long ago, and that was, in 2025. So, having a relatively good season to his standard. Where we tend to worry about Ryan Fox is his accuracy off the tee, and with these wide fairways, that kind of isn't in play for him this week. So I like the shout out. I think it's a big enough number and to take a good shot on him.
There we go.
Alrighty, so my first play here, I went to the tippy top of the board and I went to Marco Penge at 15 to 1. Thought the number was too big. Also, just thought he was the
Yes.
best player in the field here. And he has the game that should fit really well here. He is an absolute nuclear driver of the golf ball. He mashes the ball off the tee. And what else does he do well? He hits his irons well and he can make putts. He's proven that he can win tournaments. He's won three this year on the DP World Tour. He's heading over to the PGA Tour soon, so I just think that this is a good opportunity for Penge to knock another win into his DP World Tour resume before he heads over to the PGA Tour next season.
Yeah, Marco Penge is a superstar. Like he's going to be a superstar. If you're an English golf fan, you should be ecstatic about where he's going to elevate that level of game to with the Terrell Hattons of the world and the likes because he is that good at golf. And he steamrolled his way through the DP World Tour. And if it wasn't for a random betting ban back in 2023, he would have been on the PGA Tour this past season either way. So this is an elite talent. When it comes to a golf event like this, you have 15 to 1 where your top guys are Cam Smith of the Live Golf Tour. You have Minwoo Lee, who hasn't been playing his best golf as of late. Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, who hasn't won a DP World Tour event already. And then you have right there Marco Penge, who has been the best DP World Tour player this entire season, and took Rory McIlroy to the end a bit. in a
Yeah.
race to Dubai title. So I love to play. 15 to 1's a big number. I never saw that when I went through. I kind of also overlooked Marco Pinch because the number was really low at like 11 to 12 in the first few books I looked at. But
Yeah.
I do love to play at 15 to 1.
Yeah, and just a couple of stats to, add to that. He was fifth in driving distance in 2025 on the DP World Tour, 11th in greens and regulation percentage, eighth in putts per green and regulation, and then fifth in stroke average. So we know that he is the cream of the crop. And I think that he is the biggest number of mine from the tippy top of the cream of the crop to take a shot on this week.
For sure. My next play is our crossover, Jake. So instead of me going there and then me talking three straight guys while you sit idle, I'm gonna hop over him until we come back to
Appreciate
him
it.
to talk for you. So I'm gonna go down the board here for my next play, and that's Hugo Cassard at 70 to 1. He hasn't been in amazing form coming this week, but he was 49th at the Abu Dhabi, 42nd in Genesis, 40th in India, 5th in Spain, and 22nd in France. Finished last season 32nd in putting, 34th in green relations. He's 37th in driving distance, 41st in sand saves, 78th off the tee, and bogey avoidance, 91st in scrambling, 120th on approach. So there's a weird, establishment of this field because you have your top guys, then you have this random middle of these DP World Tour regulars just fighting for their lives, and that's where Coussard finishes. Then after that, you're going to have your PGA Tour of Australasia down bottom. So Coussard's in that middle piece, and that's why he's 70 to 1. I like his all roundness of this game. His approach game does lack, but it does pop from time to time, as we saw in Spain. I'd like to see that pop here. Do I trust him taking down a Cam Smith or a Ryan Fox or Marco Panch? It's going to be tough to see. But I like the number. I think there's a little juice in the bone there, especially for this middle pack DP World Tour Railers who have, this guy's been around for a while. I think he's 33, 34 years old. Hasn't been playing on the DP World Tour that long, but played a bunch of the Challenge Tour. I think this is a chance for him to get a good step up, elevate his game. I think the last time he won was 2023 in the Challenge Tour. So get the DP World Tour title out of the way quickly, and then see if he can have himself a good season and find himself the PGA Tour next season.
Yeah, I like the shout here. I think the number is plenty big on him. And he's not your traditional, bomber per se, but he does bring that plus distance off the tee and he can make a lot of putts. So I think there's, he's contended throughout the season, right? He has a bunch of top 10, 15, 20 finishes, particular to this season on the DP World Tour. So I think it's a good shot to take on him this week because once you get past the top of the board, like you said, there's a pretty big drop off, and I would argue that he's towards the top of that middle section here.
All right. So that crossover, Jake, I'll let you kick things off here, so I'm not talking so much.
Yeah, Daniel Hillier, I've got him at 33. I believe you have him a little higher, maybe 35, right?
30, I think is where I have him.
Oh, okay. All right. So Daniel Hillier,
Yeah, 30.
he is in some really good form. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's rather quiet or not, but dating back to the Open de España, he's finished T23 there, T9 at the DP World Tour India Championship, a T38 at the Genesis Championship, a T5 at the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship, and then a 16th at the DP World Tour Championship, where he brings consistent plus distance off the tee, rather consistent gaining with the putter, which is really good to see. The irons have been hot and cold, but that's where I'm willing to take it. He's about average on the DP World Tour when it comes to that. He's 22nd in driving distance. He's 23rd in greens and regulation, 45th in putts per green and regulation, and 41st in stroke average. So brings along a very well-rounded game, in my opinion. The worst part of his game is the around the green, and I don't think he's gained in that in months. So let's just hope that this guy can use those irons and hit the greens because the distance and the putting is there, and I think that he has a good shot to take down, his second DP World Tour win in his career here this week.
Yeah, right there with you. As we mentioned already, the crossover here of Daniel Hillier looking to go back-to-back weeks without the rough guys, going with a double up here. We'll see if we can do it here with Daniel Hillier. But yeah, again, not Australian, but New Zealand. So he's used to this type of golf, grew up in this area, playing this type of golf. I think there is a direct correlation between like not course history, but course type history. And that's why Australia has dominated this event outside of just the cream of the crop of Australia attending this event each and every year as well during the off season and all of that. But either way, he is, I don't know, like you said, quietly, because a lot of people were on him during that last stretch of the DP World Tour season, but playing some great golf, matches up extremely well, and has a well-rounded game, which you've mentioned outside of out around the green, but I don't think that's that big of a concern this week in this type of event.
Yep.
All right, so I have two super long shots here just to go over real quick if you guys do care. First one being Nathan Barbieri, 300 to 1, my first of two Australian long shots. So he has some great form on the PGA Tour of Australasia here. 34th in his last outing at the Queensland PGA. Prior to that, 10th at the NSW Open, 8th at the WebEx Player Series, South Australia, T3rd at the Nexus Adversenet Bowra. Just know it's a T3 there. T4th at the CBK WA PGA, second at the TaylorMade Building Services, and then T16 at the PNG Open. Has played this event before, T53 last year, missed the cut in 23, 41 in 2022, and 31 in 2021. Not great finishes, but has some course and tournament history here. Puts in great form on an Australian tour, so he's playing this time zone. He's playing this type of golf every single week. So I think there's an advantage there as well. Then my final play is Jay McKenzie at 400 to 1. Again, some great form in this Australian tour as well. Missed the cut last week, but prior to that, he was sixth at the NSW, T5th at the WebEx Players, T33 at the Nexus, second at the CBK or CKB, excuse me, seventh at the TaylorMade, and T10 at the PNG Open. So a littering of top five and top 10 for Jay McKenzie at a huge number, same with Nathan Barberi. So just again, just right at this event where Australians is dominated. I took these guys at super big numbers. Maybe I've played some each way on them. We'll see how that works out for me this week. But just huge numbers for some guys that played this tour, play this type of golf, excuse me, play this time zone each and every week. I think that's a big advantage as well because you're playing nearly 24 hours earlier than you normally would. So I think there's something to that as well for those non-Australians or people just not living in the area anymore. So there might be something to it, but again, just huge, huge numbers that take a few dollars or a few cents that can win you a boatload of money back.
Yeah, we love a good long shot here, right?
You got to go with it, especially in an event that's just dominated by the home country. It helps with finding those guys, and I just dug a little bit into that tour and found some guys in some good form and went with it.
Yeah, can't fault you for it at all.
Well, guys, like we promised, it's a short one this week. And if you're new to the DP World Tour, hopefully you get some chance to tune in this week. It's going to be, if you're in stateside at least, you're going to have some evening viewing as we'll get a little bit of TV coverage here into the evening. So if you're winding down from before bed looking for something to do, just turn on the golf and see if you can find yourself a name or two to hook on to. And that's, what really got me the DP World Tour a few seasons ago, which is finding those random young guys that you gravitate towards. You turn on an event, you see a name, he's competing, you kind of just hook onto that guy and follow him for a while. So see if you can't find your guy there and just enjoy some golf while the PGA Tour is idle for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jake, one more time, where can people find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Friedman on Twitter. Outright card is posted there, so make sure to check that out. Also, be sure to reach out to Nate or myself to get the link to join our Discord, which is completely free. Once you're in, you have access to everything in there. Again, a great community of 300-ish members in that range. So be sure to join. Hop in, ask questions. Spark some debates. We love a good debate in there as well. So a free resource at your fingertips. No harm, no foul. You might as well join, check it out, see what if it's worth your time. If it is, awesome. We'd love to have you. If not, feel free to leave. We're just happy to facilitate a community that, Nate, we've had this for a couple years now and everything's worked well. We've made a lot of friends in there, a lot of good banter. So again, I want everyone to join. I have a great time. I know you do too. So just trying to pass the love along to everyone else.
For sure. And at this point we have inside jokes between all of us. Like you said, have made some true friendships in there and again, banter back and forth all the time between members of there. So be sure to check it out. It's just a great community outside of a great tool to have at your fingertips as well. Follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at NateOOTR. Be sure to visit our website, ootrough.com. And yeah, we do this every single week. So uh, after this one, be sure to check us out next week. Until then, guys, we'll see you.